What I'd like to show you here is to take a scene that's completely drawn in 2D, and there's no 3D space to it, and we're going to convert it to 3D and add a 3D element to it. So right now, using the Select tool, you can see that if I choose the island, I have everything exactly the way that we would in the standard Toon Boom Storyboard Pro that's not in 3D. Everything acts completely normal. All of the scenes in this program, by default start out as 2D scenes. And if I want to use that first frame tool in here, I can no longer, I can rotate it in 2 dimensions, but I'm not able to anymore flip it over on the X and Y and Z axis. So all of this artwork is still editable. And it's just like any other artwork. I can't turn it, I can't rotate it while it's in 2D space. So what I'm going to do is convert this to 3D just by pressing that button. And everything looks the same, but now when I go to the island layer, I've got a controller and I'm moving it all around. It's acting a little weird because it's on the exact same plane as the backdrop. So if I pull it ahead a little bit, if I pull it in front, there I can rotate it completely. And to get a look at the fact that everything, when I've converted this to 3D, I can go into the stage view and I can see, oh yeah, everything is 3D enabled, but the artwork is still all stuck to that glass back wall, as it were. So right now this island is something that I already started to move, and you can see it's represented here. All right, I want to go to the green because green represents the y-axis. And this is helpful. You can see I've got too many things selected. So right now if I just want the island and I don't want to pick up this background, I can either turn the background off or I can lock it. So let me go back to the island. I can rotate it in space. But I want to bring our pirate forward in space, so I'm going to click on the pirate. You can see the pirate is selected, but his Super Transform tool is not over his body. So I'm going to grab it by that little dot in the middle, the one that says P on it. That stands for pivot point. I'm going to put it directly over his body, and now I'm able to move him. He disappears because he's going through the back wall. So I'm going to drag him forward a little bit, but mostly I'm going to have more control. If I go into this top view, I can move him now forward. Let me go into the camera view so you can also see that as I drag him toward the camera, he is getting larger. So I've got him in a good position right now. So again, we can check it by going into stage view and seeing, oh yes, he is definitely standing in front of the background. Now I'm going to pull this bird away from the background too. So I click on him to activate his Super Transform tool. And I can pick him up and drag him up and down and right and left, but I'm going to need some help when I pull him toward the camera. So to do that, I'm going to look in my top view. I can see that he's already selected. And I'm going to grab that handle and pull him toward the camera. I can also pull him this way and scale him because now he's just simply too big. But the main thing is that when I press Control and Shift, I could see, oh yeah, he's definitely in front. He's definitely in the foreground. So that's creating a 3D scene after I've already created it in 2D. So we already converted this flat drawing into a 3D drawing made up of flat planes, which again you can see by looking at the stage view that it's made up of flat planes. Now for some reason you wanted to convert it back to 2D, you could just click the 2D button and you can see the elements resize themselves back to the original sizes and placements that they were in before any 3D transformation took place. So now that this is back in 2D space, I can't even rotate it with the stage view because it's completely flat, and we're back to being able to select items in the same way that we normally do in the 2D program. So this scene now is a 2D scene, but there are 3 different ways to convert a 2D scene into a 3D scene. One is to click on the 3D Enable 3D button, and the second one is to import a 3D object into the scene. So I want to import a ship into this 2D scene. And instead of pressing the 3D button, I'm going to go over to the library. I'm going to go to 3D models. I'm going to go to pirate ship. And I'm just going to drop that pirate ship into the scene. And just like we did in the very beginning of this tutorial, we get a message that says a 3D layer was inserted into the scene. The scene will automatically be converted to 3D. So watch as before I press OK, when I do, that 3D button is going to get grayed out. So here we go. Okay, so now we are definitely in 3D space. I need to squish this pirate ship down to size for me to manipulate it. And sometimes you have to do that in a couple of steps. I'm going to rotate it on the Y-axis. I'm going to use my top view to pull it away from the from that background painting. I'm going to scale it down a little bit more, and I'm just going to sort of cheat this one and put it, I'm going to use the Y-axis to make it look like it's sailing on the water. And I'm going to show you one more way to convert a scene from 2D to 3D. Instead of importing a 3D object from the library, sometimes it's more convenient to simply copy a 3D layer from a different scene and then just pasting that layer into your project. That way you don't have to resize the scene. You don't have to resize the 3D element so much like we normally do. So I'm going to go over here and click on this pirate ship. I'm going to right click on it and go to Copy Selected Layers. And I'm simply going to go back over to our 2D flat scene. I'm going to right-click on any one of these layers and hit Paste Layer. Now, I pasted that layer. It dropped the ship in, but it dropped it in a way that's much more manageable. You can see it's converted to 3D because 3D is ghosted out. And I'm going to take my first frame tool, and it'll be a lot more simple for me to manipulate this ship now. I'm just going to scale it a little bit from the corner. There we go. Get the pirate ship way out there to see. And there I have a 3D scene. It's actually, there's only one element in it that's 3D looking. One last note on this topic is that if you were going to convert this scene back to 2D and it has a 3D model in the scene, you're going to see that not only is it going to flatten everything back to the way it was, but it's actually going to eliminate that model entirely. I'll just show you. We'll go up to the button that says Reset Scene to 2D, and when I do, I get a warning message that says Resetting will remove the 3D models from the scene. The 3D models will not be deleted from the project, and they will still be available in the library. But if you do that, you're going to have to drag it back in from the library, and you're going to have to reposition it. So I'll press OK, and you'll see that it vanishes. So my only choice there is to press Undo to bring it back.